Where'd you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Cotton Eye Joe, been a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? I just want to stab this bitch. Hey, 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 hey. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Please let me stab this bitch. Remothered Broken Porcelain is published by Modus Games and developed by Stormmind Games. It is a sequel to Remothered Tormented Fathers, which I personally wasn't able to play, but I did watch recap videos both on YouTube, and there's a recap in the game before you start Broken Porcelain itself that you can watch or skip if you already know the story up to that point. Based on everything I saw from those recaps and everything, the first game, Tormented Fathers, is by all accounts just feels and seems like a much better game than this one. But in this game, you play as Jen, who has been expelled from a girls' institute and sent to the Ashman Inn to serve as the inn's maid. The Ashman Inn is where most of this game overall takes place. Jen tries to escape from the inn, but suffers an injury while attempting said escape. Because of this escape attempt, she has a strained relationship with another maid named Lynn. But apparently that didn't stop her, because when Jen tries to escape again, she witnesses the head maid, Andrea, feeding a man who you don't really see, as you can only see like an arm reach out. But there's something going on in this inn, and it's kind of like you trying to unravel what's happening. But from there, the torture and the boringness that this game has to offer begins.
Suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. We have the solution to your problem. Phenoxyl. It isolates and removes your torment, be it an old traumatic event or a bad memory. Say goodbye to restless nights and constant churning over it. Forget about it forever. It's finally possible with Phenoxyl.
My thoughts on the story is not much. And that's because there's not much to say for me. The game is slow almost all the way through. It mostly entirely involves running away from enemies, hiding in chests or lockers, and staying there sometimes for long periods, sneaking up to enemies and stabbing them with the weapons that are found throughout the inn, causing misdirection with objects you find, and so on. Between these sections, there are cutscenes that try to tell a story, but it's not interesting. It's not interesting, and you're not interested. It doesn't help that graphically it's choppy and stiff. There's notable pop-in to the textures throughout the game. Throughout the game you run into this. Frame rate issues. It's tough to get into anything they're talking about because the game looks so bad consistently all the way through. And that's on the developers. It's on the developers. They delayed this game. They delayed it to fix the kinks, to, quote, give the players the experience that they deserve. And this is the game they put out. This is the game they put out. This is the story they put out. Graphically, it's not there. Technically, it's not there. It's choppy as fuck. So when I say there's not much to say about the story, there's a story there. They try to tell a story, but it's interweaved between this boring, repetitive, just garbage that they lay out that you just don't care that much. I tried to pay attention, but the story that is there, you just don't care. The characters, you don't like them. The voice acting isn't really that good. They try to tell a story, but it's just thrown together. And mixed that with the gameplay that we'll talk about in a second, it's just a recipe for disaster. And I was hoping for something better from this game, with the first game looking so good, but it just wasn't there. In terms of the gameplay itself, it may be the clunkiest gameplay I have ever played. You tell the character to run. She doesn't run. You try to turn corners, and if you hit anything when you turn a corner, you get stuck there, and That's super annoying. The camera doesn't help, as sometimes the camera just whips around and puts you in bad position where you just don't know where you are. And since the camera randomly whipped you around, you're just like, you have to like kind of like figure out where you are again. And when you're in the middle of a boss fight or you're running away from something, you don't have time for all of that. Maneuvering around the bosses themselves can be annoying, as you can only hit the dodge button circle on PlayStation once, and then it's almost like the game tells you to go fuck yourself. Especially if you're stuck in a corner and when you hit circle it doesn't work the first time, you just die. Because you get stuck in the corner and you can't get by them. Because just like turning a corner and hitting the corner, you're just stuck there because you can't get around them. Beyond that, every weapon you use is a one-hit use. So if you have a knife and you sneak up on an enemy and you stab them, that's it for that weapon. You have to go find a new one, and it also, it would be fine if it killed the enemy, but that one-time use weapon does not kill the enemy. So you're running around the hallways over and over and over again trying to find the weapon. They are everywhere. But the one-time use thing is just really, really weird. I don't get that at all. I never got it. I thought it was dumb. I hate when games do that. I've just gotten used to games with durability, with low durability, let alone games with one-time use knives and shovels. That's just not how you should design your game, in my opinion. But that's the least of this game's problems, but it's still a thing that I disliked about the game. The big thing about this game that is just almost inexcusable is the game is utterly broken. The game is fucking broken. One of the most broken games I've played. There are broken games out there that are worse, I know. But in terms of games I've played, this game is one of the more broken games I've played. And this is even after a patch, a 5 gigabyte patch that they put in there right after I started the game. So this is a patched version, and it's still broken. I had boss fights where the boss wouldn't even hit me, but the game pretended you died and restarted the boss fight. What the fuck was that? I don't know. To my knowledge, I didn't die. I was still standing. You didn't even hit me. I had enemies with guns who were there at almost point-blank range. It would miss every single fucking shot they took, even though I wasn't even moving. I believe in you, sir. His weakness is shots from 10 feet.
I'll show you.
I know this game was originally delayed, but this game needed to be delayed indefinitely until they were able to work out the kinks on the gameplay and the bugs. Because it's almost unplayable at times, and inexcusable. In a survival horror game, gameplay is at the utmost importance, because everything you do, every wrong step you make, can get you killed. Especially with something chasing you. So if you're getting stuck on every corner, and the movement is clunky, and the character refuses to run when you tell them to, and the camera whips around, then it's just a recipe for a bad survival horror game, and that, in my opinion, that's what this game is. Anybody who's survival horror fans deserve better than this game. They deserve better from Stormmind games. Indie game or not, it doesn't matter. People give people passes because they're indie game. This is an indie game. Give them time to fix it. Fuck that. No one made you put out this game the way in that state. No one made you charge $30 to put out a broken mess. If you're charging that much, if you're charging people money, you don't get to put out a broken mess and get a pass. Sure, maybe a year from now, a few months from now, the game will be fixed. But in the state it is in right now, the way it is, you can't release a game like that. Indie game or fucking not. There are some collectibles such as photos, documents, milk cartons, snow globes, moths, cinematics, moth keys you can find throughout the inn if you wanted to, and God bless you, try to 100% this game. Those are there for you. With those moth keys, they also unlock skills that you'll find. It's like, I can't remember what kind of machine it is, but you find them throughout, and you can upgrade skills such as barrier, which improves the ability to block doors, escape, which improves your sprint duration. Shadow, which reduces the noise when moving. Sharpness increases proficiency with defense items, and so forth. And you can upgrade these skills as you get more moth keys to try to make the game more fucking bearable. But outside that, there's not really much in terms of collectibles, just what I named off, and really the moth keys are most important because that's how you get your upgrades. In terms of final score, you've probably already guessed that I'm not a huge fan of this game. The gameplay drags it down almost instantly. Any story that they tried to tell kind of got overshadowed by all the glitches and bugs and texture issues and pop ends and frame rate issues that the game has. And the story, even at that, isn't good enough, if good at all, to carry all those issues, to carry that baggage. The game has so much baggage, it's hard to ignore. It's really hard to ignore. And that's why I'm giving this game a 2 out of 10. I'm not even sure if the game, even if the glitches and everything is patched, that this game is relatively good. I'm sure the score would go up, but I'm not sure the story that's being told actually holds up even without the glitches, because it's all over the place. It is really all over the place. And I know it's a continuation of the first game, and it pieces stuff together, but it just wasn't interesting. It wasn't an interesting story. The gameplay was bad. The voice acting was bad. The graphics weren't that great. You know what I mean? It's just all these things stacking on top of each other get you to that 2 out of 10. And it's really disappointing based on the hype that the first game had, that everybody enjoyed, the award-winning game that the first game was, and it turned into this. But I hope that Stormmind Games gets their shit together, and whatever they come out with next is a better game. It goes back to what Tormented Fathers was, and less whatever the fuck this was. But that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the content we've been putting out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. More reviews, playthroughs, podcasts coming. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. I would appreciate it. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, guys.